Hello, guys. This is Donovan. I have known him my whole life, pretty much. So, he recently started his workout journey, and so I have a question. What did you decide? When did you decide something needed to change?
Oh, when did I actually decide?
Yeah.
It was beginning of senior year.
Okay, gotcha. And why did you decide that something had to change?
It was a mix of watching myself kind of go downhill throughout COVID and kind of imagining what I could be. So like
Okay.
I'd always think about like I could be this type of person as I'm sitting down playing Minecraft for 10 hours a day, eating whatever the hell I wanted. And then the second part was watching everyone else around me, like in high school,
Right.
just like get just better.
Okay.
Because it was, that whole like COVID year time skip that everyone kind of
Like for
went
school?
through? Yeah. So like you leave freshman year, everyone's like a kid, and then you come back
Oh,
junior
I
year,
see.
and suddenly over half the people are like almost looking like adults. I didn't have that because I didn't
Right.
really commit to anything.
Okay.
And a lot of my friends I saw around me, they did. Like they went from like being a kid to growth spur, athleticism, and all that stuff. And I came back and I was like, not that at all. So it's a mix of those, a mix of both of those. Always wanting to be something else, and then watching everyone else around me kind of be that thing that I wanted.
Right. So basically, what I'm getting at is during COVID. I mean, you had was it 2 years?
It was 2 years.
2 year
basically.
time
2 year
skip, right? So during that time, you were spending 10 hours a day playing Minecraft, and once you came back to the actual real world, you saw that people that you once knew had actually changed and for the better.
Yes. Either it was due to like anything they decided to do, like take up more physical activities because they're at home, nothing else to do, or it's simply because, when we all went to COVID, what were we like, 15?
Yeah. something
Around
like
that, 14, 15, no one had really hit puberty yet.
Right.
Fast forward 2 years, and suddenly almost everyone hit puberty, and it went from being like short kids to like mustache, tall dudes. And when I came back, I went from being a chubby kid to a chubbier kid with big hair.
I see. You still have big hair. You still
Yeah,
have big
yeah,
hair.
but the back, my afro. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
No, the change is phenomenal. I mean, if you don't mind, I believe you posted it on your Instagram. Do you mind if I show it to the people?
Oh
there?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I think like the change is absolutely stunning. Like, and
God, I wish I had more recent photos, because on my Instagram last year in August, and during that time, I hadn't really done my workout and my weight loss properly. I kind of did a bit of a crash diet, which you
Okay.
shouldn't do. Essentially, like super low calorie. I was very focused on cardio, not as much weightlifting. We did a lot of boxing during
Right,
that time.
right.
So I did get to a physique that I wanted, but I kind of didn't feel that good. And I
So-
was rather weak. Like I wasn't as strong as I
Okay.
would say right now, where I am even leaner than I was before.
Right.
And I'm much stronger because I've actually done
Okay.
it properly.
Gotcha. So is this physique you have now? Is this kind of what you've been going for, or what you had imagined yourself that senior year of high school?
No,
No.
I have far surpassed that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, I did not think I would get this far at all. No. What I'm doing right now is just like pushing the goalpost farther back. I
Okay.
probably hit that goalpost, I would say 7 months into my journey. It was actually my first ever workout Instagram post. 7 months in, where I cut my hair. I had a visible jawline in certain angles of pictures. I had a bit of a bicep. I remember as well, my calves were defined. Like I had a bit of definition.
Okay.
And it was at that point, I think it was like around 150. I was like, this is what I wanted. 7 months in. And then once you reach that goal, it always gets pushed further back.
Yeah,
like
I
it
can-
goes further and it goes further and further.
Yeah, I can feel that. So, if you had to start this journey all over again, what would you do differently?
Oh, 100%. I would not. At least I can't say I won't, but I would try my best to take more of a slower approach to it.
What do you mean by that?
So at the beginning, and very for the most part up until now, it was either 0 to 100.
Okay.
So either 0, I am crashing out and not following a plan at all, or 100, I am super strict, locked in. Every gram, every calorie is weighed, and I'm probably going even further than I have to.
Oh dang, I see.
So it's like, the reason why it took me so long to get to this point as it did now, about 2.5 years, to the point that I'm at. For reference, at my heaviest weighed 195,
Okay.
and at my lightest I weighed 125.
Holy.
But I think right now I've probably gained around a couple of pounds, so I'm sitting around 130, maybe under 130 right now.
Okay.
So as of from then to right now, about 65-pound weight loss and
Dang.
significant muscle gain. Like I was weak. I could probably bench 100 pounds back then.
Right.
I couldn't squat that much. I couldn't jog a block without getting gassed out and cramped. So significant improvement in endurance and strength.
Right.
But in all honesty, you could probably have seen that in about a year rather than
Okay.
2.5. And the reason why I believe, the thing I think I would change the most is instead of that 0 to 100 mentality, I kind of take it more slow.
I see. So kind of giving yourself a little more grace in terms
Exactly,
of, okay,
yeah.
I've missed a day, but I can always bounce back up from
Yes.
this. Or I don't have to be as strenuous with my routine, because as long as it's even just a little bit one day and the next day and the next day,
Mm-hmm.
you aren't being so hard on yourself about what you're doing.
Exactly. Because I remember, well, actually, one thing to note about that as well, but afterwards, I remember my common trend here was I'd go 1 to 4 months on average of just like strict,
Okay.
and I'd see a lot of progress. And then somewhere along the line, in a simpler term, I'd have a little crash out.
I know. I get that completely.
And it'd be about a crash out of about 2 weeks, maybe a month,
Yeah.
where I'd kind of revert and retract a bit of my progress. Like, let's say, for example, the first time I did it, first initial part of my weight journey is I went from about 195 to about 170 in 2 months.
Okay.
This is through extreme starvation
I see.
and excess cardio. And because of that, I basically crashed my metabolism and my mindset. And after those 2 months of weight loss, I then plateaued for a month.
Oh wow. Okay.
You follow that. I went from 175 to about 160 in about a couple of months, and it happened again. And this was kind of a reoccurring pattern where I'd go 100% into it.
Right.
Eventually, like you kind of fall off that line,
Right.
and then it would be 100, all the way down to 0,
Gotcha.
over and over and over again.
Yeah. I can kind of relate to that, because I mean I've had a lot of mini projects, and like, I mean probably, I guess the best example relating to fitness would be rock climbing. I mean, when I first got into it, I mean I was all in.
I remember
And
this.
like 100%, like talking about it nonstop.
You would even talked about it in like New Year's and any family gathering.
Any chance I got, it was rock climbing. And I'm still that way, but not as much. But like I haven't done rock climbing over the past 4 months, just because I moved and I'm trying to like get acquainted with everything and settled in. But after being up here in Dallas for the week and rock climbing, like
Excessively.
so far it's been like 3 days of the whole week, and it's like, okay, how can I like get back into it? And so I completely get that, because it's like, okay, this is something that I want, but also if I go into it too much, then I start to wane away from it.
Yes, exactly. And the funny thing about that is when it comes to trying to push this little, I guess, slower route to it, you had mentioned that sometimes it's okay to realize that I couldn't get everything I wanted done today,
Yeah.
but at least I got something done.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's even more important to realize is that it's okay that you got a little bit done,
Right.
but make sure you get more done tomorrow.
Right.
Because if you continuously do this little bit of, I got a little bit done, that's okay. Next day, again, next day, again. You are now setting up a new pattern where now your okay is now your most.
Are you familiar with the book Atomic Habits?
I am. I
Yes.
actually am.
So,
Yes.
There's a quote that I live by very rigorously, and that is, don't allow yourself to skip more than one day
Yes.
consecutively.
I love that.
And I follow that very, very strictly. So I have an accountability partner, and sometimes I'll skip a day. I'll be like, hey, or like when I'm sending him my report or my accountability for the day, I'll be like, hey, I missed this day, but it's fine as long as I don't miss tomorrow.
Tomorrow's
then I'll be
important.
fine.
Exactly.
And then he'll be like, you know what, completely understandable. And like, it's great to have an accountability partner, because then the next day he'll be like, hey, did you do this thing that you said you didn't want to skip twice in a row? And it's like, oh,
It didn't.
yes. And then if I didn't do it for that day, then that serves as a reminder of like, hey, this needs to be done, and I can't do anything else until it's done.
Exactly. Like, it is your number one priority, because if you
Yeah.
don't do that, you'll kind of like lose yourself a bit.
Exactly.
This is almost exactly took me about 2 years to realize this. Almost exactly how the 0 to 100 shift would happen. So
Okay.
like last summer, before I made that post, I basically missed a couple of days of the gym,
Right.
or doing running or whatever it was that I wanted to do in the earlier part of the summer while I was working. I was working full time. I just got a new job, and I had like, that's okay. You know, I started working 40 hours a week at
Right.
least. I'm still doing something, you know, that's okay. And this kind of spiraled down for like, I'll say a couple of days, a few days exactly. And then this consistent nagging part of my brain for like the rest of the summer
I love that.
was going, I'm doing okay. I should be doing more, but it's okay. I'll do it tomorrow. It's
Oh.
okay. I'll start this time. Oh, it's Friday. I'm going to go out with friends. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow.
Oh, I see.
Little
Yeah.
did I know, 3 months down the line, I would then have not worked out for 2.5 months straight.
Oh, dang.
It like, this is, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I missed that second day.
Yeah, exactly.
And that spiraled to 2 to 3
It's-
months.
It definitely does. It's kind of like a little snowball effect.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like the more like it's a new habit that you're creating, a snowball effect that kind of like it just grows and grows and grows, and the bigger it grows, the harder it is to manage.
Exactly.
I feel like.
And I feel like that's, you had mentioned accountability partner.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so important, because I never really had that per se,
Okay.
and I still don't have that. I'm still trying to figure out how to do it by myself, and I definitely have learned, especially this past 2 months, that it is almost impossible to do it by yourself. You need
Yeah.
some type of support, whether it be a family or a friend,
Oh, 100%.
because throughout this, like I mentioned, the nagging feeling throughout that 3-month period, I had told myself every day that I need to do this
Yeah.
for the betterment of myself. But it's like I almost just didn't care. Like at the very end of the night, it's like, okay, I need to do this.
Yeah.
Then the morning tomorrow happened. It's like, well, there's always tomorrow.
I completely, and I wouldn't say it's a not caring, because I've definitely been in the same boat where I do have this nagging, but then I wouldn't say I don't care. It kind of almost feels like that, but I think it's a more like
Like, you don't care enough.
content. It's a more contentness with. Exactly, it's like you're not like you don't care enough.
You don't care
I feel like
enough.
it's more being content with.
Where you're at now, and not where you want to
and
be.
not really wanting to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite know how to put it into words either, because I do care, I really do, but at the same time, like, now is fine here, everything's fine.
I noticed this happens. This happened to me. Easiest example would be like my weight loss and my fitness journey.
Yeah,
Whenever I reached, let's say, a new goal,
right.
and I was okay with where I was for however long it took. So, like, for example, I had hit, I don't know, I had a goal of losing X amount of pounds. I hit that goal. I know I can do better and I want to do better, but this is fine. It's more of that this is fine mentality. And then tomorrow I'm like, okay, I want to do better, but this is fine.
So what, as far as like, I mean, do you go to a gym?
I do now, actually.
Okay,
I used to
gotcha.
be all home gym.
And so, I mean, in terms of like fitness or just like betterment of self, what do you feel people typically get wrong when it comes to those things?
Are we talking just like betterment of self or just like strength training or something like that?
I would say betterment, because I would say it's strength, like fitness also ties into betterment
Yeah,
of self.
I think it is as well.
Betterment of self in general.
Betterment of self, I think the number one thing like has to be this mindset of, it's like I mentioned before, it's either 0 to 100.
Right.
It's you have to be consistent, but not overly bearing on yourself.
Okay.
Because the more you're overbearing on yourself, the harder it is to kind of maintain, and the further it'll weigh on your mind.
Gotcha.
And this happened a lot, actually, with another friend of mine that I started this fitness journey with. I was 195. I'm not that tall, 5'4". So
Okay.
I was relatively
Short king.
relatively a meatball. And my friend of mine was around, I want to say 300.
Okay.
I think 5'10", 5'11".
Oh, okay.
So he was definitely a lot bigger than me.
Right.
But we both had somewhere to go. I remember we had started like very fast together. We both did the 0 to 100 thing.
Oh, I see.
And over time, like I mentioned right now, I've learned to kind of slow it down over just experience of messing up over and over again.
Right.
He never did. And I would try to convince him, and he believed that he could. And I'm telling you right now, he hasn't made progress in about a year and a half.
Wow.
He's just stayed. And honestly, I think he's kind of reverted, like fully.
To
like
not doing any, or not committing.
Yeah, it's
to
because like
himself.
he's don't get me wrong, he did make really good progress in his weight loss and his fitness or
Right.
whatever, but he also messed up the betterment of self type of thing.
Right.
Because now he's bit of a more, I don't want like bad habits, like bit of drinker, bit of
Okay.
smoking,
I see.
things like this. And this happens because he kind of had that like that crash out mentality, you know?
Right.
It's like either it's all in or it's all out. It's either you completely take away the diet or you completely lock in. Maybe you start running a few miles a day. Maybe you just don't even leave your room every day.
Yeah.
And that's what it can lead to. You avoid the issue by doing 0 to 100. That's the best way I can put it. Instead of learning how to better yourself, you're forcing it. That's the 100. And the most important thing for people, especially in fitness, is to learn how to better it slowly.
Okay. And so what would, in your case, that looked like, okay, taking it easy one day, and then next day, if it feels kind of hard, still taking it easy, and the next day, I feel pretty good, then I'm going to give a little more.
That is a big point. It's like you have to know when to give more, and then you have to have the mindset, or in this case, very important for most people, is the accountability partner to
Right.
tell you to do that little more.
Okay.
Because a big part of for me was my dad. I would talk to him about my diet plans, and he would tell me, okay, you need to not do that.
Okay.
Or
that's
my
good.
workouts, because it took me about, again, I probably made this realization a few months ago, which is why I made as much progress as I did in a few
Right.
months, that you don't have to put in so much effort. In fact, so much effort is bad. I remember I would be trying to run 3 miles a day at one point, and then working out about 2 hours a day.
Right.
And it was like 20 or 30 sets in a
Trying
day.
to do that
and then,
Punch Man routine.
Yeah, dude, for real. And then my diet was super strict. Like if it wasn't weighed, if it wasn't something I made at home, I'm not touching it. And you see
Yeah.
progress that way, and then it stops. Because you're not really learning how to better yourself. You're forcing it. You're kind of
I see what you're
removing the obstacles of life and just forcing your own one way. which
Gotcha.
can work, but realistically, socially, it's just not possible to maintain that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I wasn't able to be with friends. I wasn't able to really just, I guess, have a life per se. My life was so focused that by the time I was done with what I wanted to do, there was no more room for anything else.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I never really learned how to better myself and just go through life at the same time.
Balance.
Exactly.
Balance. Okay.
And funny enough, I mentioned that my lowest I weighed is 125. Right now I'm like near the leanest I've ever been, but also probably the strongest I've ever been.
That's awesome.
And it's largely in part because of that. Like, I decided to take a slower route with my diet, be more like socially, and even like lessen the workouts, but like increase the, I would say, intensity,
right.
but like
I
the weight.
completely get that.
So like, for example, during the time when I made that Instagram post, I was probably eating around 18 to 1600 calories a day.
Okay.
And then I was then excessively burning around 400 calories at least on cardio. And I say at least because some days I would burn 400 calories. And this is all like the machine saying it. I can't say I burned 400.
Right.
The machine's telling me I burned 400. And that's the number I looked at. But some days I'd burn 400. This is like incline walking for 20, 40
Right.
minutes. And then some days I'd burn 800. I'd burn more.
Dang.
I'd like push it for like, okay, I fasted for so long. How much more weight could I lose today on the
Okay.
scale? You
That
know?
makes sense. Yeah.
And I lost about 20 pounds in 3 months. And I
Okay.
made I made that Instagram post.
Right.
However, these past few months, I saw similar results.
Okay.
Like, I went from around 140 after Christmas. Everyone gains weight on
Of
Christmas.
course, naturally.
To about 125 by around this was mid-April. So
Okay.
January, February, March, April, about 4 months, three and a half months around there.
Right.
And I did this by just kind of doing more habits, like Atomic
Okay.
Habits would say.
Just a little bit at a time.
Yeah, for my diet, I wasn't strict at all. Like, remember 1800, 1600 calories? That's really low. It's hard to really do anything off that, to really gain or to preserve muscle.
Right.
Or to have energy, per se. I was sitting around 2400 calories a day,
Okay.
which is honestly basically maintenance.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And the fact that I was able to lose mostly fat and actually put on strength and never lose strength at all throughout this process
right.
just shows that my metabolism was kind of slowly creeping up, because I was also not burning myself out when it comes to fitness. Remember,
Gotcha.
I'd mentioned excessive cardio
Right.
every single day. Well, now it was kind of just, I'm going to go for jogs when I feel like it. I'm going to make sure my step count is a little bit higher, like 8,000, 10,000. And then on some days when I feel like I should push a little more, that's when I'll make the effort to push a little more.
Okay. Gotcha. So you're saying that people, what they're doing wrong is they think of it as an all-in mentality, and I mean, and you see this always on New Year's.
Oh, dude.
The gym memberships, and then
I
people
mean-
go for the first 2 weeks, and then because they're going all in, right? They're like, okay, I want to change something, and then they go and decide to do it, but then they burn themselves out too quickly.
I mean,
think-
you see this anywhere. I mean, even people around me with work, because I've been at this Panda Express for about a year.
Okay.
They've seen these like phases of me. Like, when I first started with them, I was not how I look right now, how heavy I am right now, and they notice it. And then they talk to me and they say, oh, I'm gonna go on this diet. I'm gonna start counting calories.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. And then I see about 10 days later, I see them grabbing their usual chow mein, fried rice, and orange chicken combo. And I'm like, oh, what happened to the diet, guys?
Uh-oh, someone's slipping.
Yeah, someone's slipping, and they keep on going down that hill. And it's, again, that 0 to 100. They don't learn how to balance it.
Yeah, I think that what people have wrong about it is the actual challenge that is posed when doing something like this, like whether it be improving in your career, health, or really just anything else. Language is a good one as well.
Oh, yeah, you'd mentioned a lot about learning new
Yeah.
languages before.
I'm still am.
I want to get into that.
Yeah,
Spanish, I got to learn.
But I think they don't truly like they don't truly understand what it means to have the challenge of what they're actually pursuing, and they don't take the time to, I guess, like you said, learn how to work
Yes.
with the challenge. And once it starts becoming hard, then they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go, and that is when they start to falter. They don't take the time to like learn from the difficulty, and which doesn't allow them to really grow.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've known each other because we always had cousin weekends.
Yeah, so
And
my memory doesn't even go that far back to how long, because even cousin weekends, the daycare, I mean, it was almost
oh my gosh,
every single weekend for probably over a decade. Was just
every other weekend.
Every other weekend. It was every other weekend.
Where
You're
we'd
right.
visit the grandparents and we'd just have just hang around and just have fun, all that stuff. So something I
Sleepovers.
wanted to like bring up with you is like, especially now that I'm like doing this sort of thing, is we actually like tried doing our own like YouTube channels.
Oh my god, I remember this. It was
And
so long ago.
I view those as kind of like crazy, like big lofty goals, but like, do you still have any like, what's it called, desire for any of that?
For like production or just in
Well, I
general?
mean, not production, just like obviously we were kids, we were drawn into the whole YouTube shebang.
Everyone wanted to be a YouTuber.
Yeah, and we did it for a while. And I only bring this up because I came across your old channel a while back.
Oh my
and,
God.
texted you about it. I was like, man, good times,
It's gotta be
good
like-
times.
It has to be like an 8-year ago video at least.
But like even just like for fitness, like would you want to
So,
like, post content?
I had
about fitness?
actually really wanted to do that. I still do really want to do that. But the only thing that I would say is holding me back per se is I actually want more knowledge first.
Okay.
Like, I kind of view the fitness space, a lot of people there are kind of just spewing content that I don't really necessarily enjoy, because I like more informative content.
Right.
I've been someone that's always liked long form videos, informative videos, documentaries, podcasts. I mean, I love that stuff.
Right.
And you don't really see that enough in the fitness space. It's a lot more of just quick, simple things.
Right.
And I would love to be someone that can do more long form content. However, I just haven't been here as long as I would need to actually have the experience
I see.
to properly make that type of content myself. Like, for example, I think a big part of the fitness space right now is that they're so hyper focused on like zero sugar, low carb things, that they're kind of pushing it to the point that they're forgetting that this stuff also has different side effects that we're not covering.
Right.
So, like, for an example, I myself have gone through and I'm still going through like a gut healing journey as well, like on the side. I mean, our whole family has had like gut issues for the long, like my mom, Thea right now,
Right.
like, I know she has it. She's talked to me about it. We talked to each other about it.
Right.
And a big thing in the fitness space is these low sugar and especially the low carb stuff. And people are like spewing reputable fitness creators that for sure I know for a fact have nothing but the best of intentions for their space, but they're simply thinking the perspective of low calorie equals to fat loss and fitness progress. But they're forgetting that we also need these nutrients for our gut, for our body. And a big thing, especially about these low carb options, like low carb tortillas, low carb breads, low calorie protein bars, is that they kind of force certain nutritious things like fiber, for example.
Okay.
Like they put a bunch of fiber into these lower carb things to give it structure and give it that low calorie property. However, they're not really understanding what exactly fiber is and how to use it.
So, I mean, that's a pretty good example. I mean, and this is something my old boss would always tell me. She's also a family friend, so I still keep in touch with her. But it's like, if you have that knowledge and that insight into the fitness field, that could be something that you just put out there, right?
It's just that like, God, it's that effort. Because you know, so crazy thing is that we had just gotten new phones. Like I had probably the iPhone 13 mini for ever since it came out.
Yeah.
I don't know when it came out, but I had it for that long. And then 2 months ago, my iPhone 13 mini's battery completely ran out. Like normally it says you have to replace your battery when it hits around battery optimization level of 50% or around there. Mine was at 0. I would lose battery while charging. There was no more saving this thing. And we had just removed insurance. So I couldn't get it fixed for free. To get the battery fixed, about $107. To get the new promotion on whatever AT&T had for the new iPhone 16 that had just come out months prior.
Yeah.
It was about, including tax, including activation fees, everything, $111 to get the new phone.
Wow.
It was $4 more expensive to get the brand new 16 compared to fixing my 13 mini. So I actually just got this phone, and then shortly afterwards, I bought myself ring light. I bought myself a cool little like stand thing because I wanted to get into taking more pictures and being a bit, because I finally had a camera that could actually do something. The 13 mini's camera is not that good.
Right.
So I have all the building blocks to start it. I just need that comfortability to actually start it. And I know I can make good information off of that, because like a big thing about that fiber thing I had mentioned is you need variety and you need a nice ratio. So like often you see the fiber stuff used in most fitness or protein things, which you're actually starting to see more and more in like just regular life.
Right.
Like now regular companies are starting to make more fitness pertained products because they're realizing as the years go on, it's becoming a much bigger thing in social, like in just regular life. The pursuit of lower weight and lower calorie.
Right.
And people are doing this via cheap, insoluble fiber products that don't necessarily benefit your gut health. However, are very low calorie and very cheap to put into their things. So like, let's say, for example, the low calorie tortillas. You look at the tortilla. It's a pretty big one. It's about 60 calories for the whole thing. Compare that to a regular flour tortilla. It's about 140.
Right.
It's about less than half. That's a great deal. You look at the back, and it says dietary fiber. The one I would see, about 17 grams of dietary fiber a day. The big issue with this, there's like 3 big issues. One, it's insoluble fiber.
Okay.
It does not benefit your gut bacteria at all.
I see.
Your gut at all. It is simply meant to build bulk in your gut and then pass through you. That's why it has no calories. You don't digest it at all.
I see.
2, it's cheaper processed insoluble fiber. So there's like, again, a variation. So there's like levels to this. It's like the lowest level because it's cheap to make and it's cheap to put in your item, and then you call it low carb healthy.
Okay.
Boom. Like it passes guidelines. And then the third thing is the average American diet before this doesn't get much fiber, doesn't get much plants, doesn't get much veggies. So what happens when you start adding in these low calorie options that have a lot of fiber, whether it be protein bars, Quest bars, Mission Carb Balance tortillas, keto breads like crazy, is you are now giving your gut something that you were lacking in, dropping a nuke on it. And it's not even like a good nuke. Like it's a chemical. Like most people wouldn't get 17 grams of dietary fiber from that one tortilla in a day. And you're now getting that in a singular minute. And it's not even high quality. It's not variable. So all you're doing now is, yes, you're low calorie. Yes, you'll see benefits on the scale. You'll see your fat loss drop. But now you're destroying your body.
I see.
And people that I watch in the fitness space that I know are very knowledgeable and I know have nothing but the best intentions are constantly pushing these products because of the caloric benefit and the weight loss benefit.
Right.
And they're not realizing just yet, because it's a very like recent, flux of these products, that over time you will have great effects on your body, which is what I saw actually.
Right.
I was that person. I went from eating almost no veg, no really fiber, no much carbs,
Right.
to then seeing these low calorie products all over my fitness page. So I was buying these keto breads, these keto tortillas, these protein bars. Oh, it has fiber. I need fiber. Let me get more of that. I
Right.
went from like 0 to like 60 grams of fiber, like within a couple of weeks. And initially I felt fine. You fast forward a few months, suddenly I have a much more digestive issues than I used to have, despite losing weight and despite eating quote unquote healthier.
Right.
And I'm realizing now it's like I was bombing myself.
Pretty much.
That's what I was
that
doing.
Sounds good.
And it's something that I still see to this day. And again, you won't see the effects initially. It'll be further down the line. And if you just don't have this knowledge,
Right.
you won't know how to fix it.
Right.
And
So-
that's something I feel like I would love to make production on that.
Right.
You know,
That's awesome.
information that is very beneficial that isn't really given out as much.
Right. And that's really, I mean, similar story here with the podcast. I mean, this is probably this is episode 10.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see your channel.
Okay. Coming into this, I didn't really know what I wanted it to be. Like, I knew kind of a general idea of like just wanting to provide people with a space to like come to if they ever need anything. But over time, I've kind of realized that now it's just bringing people in, having their stories be told, or even just my story and my journey. And if anyone takes anything from that, then by all means, if one person is like, oh, I resonate with this, oh, this can help me, then that'd be so great. But also adding a little bit of ADHD into the mix, because I have ADHD. I don't know if you have ADHD.
I was never tested, but I know my dad and my sister have it.
Yeah, and
So,
so-
chances are the apple doesn't,
fall
grow
far from the tree.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so having a mix of like ADHD into this podcast, but like I know nothing about it. So
Yeah.
I'm learning as I go and like doing a lot of ADHD research, and like even then it's still like I feel like I'm not grasping it all.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean that's also part of the journey, just figuring it out as you go. And I've loved every aspect
That
of
is
it.
so much more important than the actual like concrete objective goal is the journey.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I say this? I just watched another podcast
I see.
that had talked about not relying on like the results, but rather the journey. I can probably I wrote it down because of how
I see.
because of how like
Let's
just
pull
like
it up.
whoa it was to me, because it was so simple, but it makes a lot of sense. Here we go. It's here, this is what they said: to focus on the input goals and not the output goals.
Oh, I like
So like what you had mentioned is like you were just kind of going along with it, you kind of relying on the journey. That's
Yeah.
the input. That's your input is like retaining information
Yeah.
and then being able to show that information, and you're just going along with it. You're inputting what is desired to meet your outcome. You're
Right.
not focused on the outcome. As long as you input it, you should naturally reach that outcome.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I feel like most people, me especially, focus too much on that output goal. So like, let's say, again, because this is most clear to me when it comes to the scale. You're focused on that
Oh, I
number.
see, I see.
You're doing whatever it does to get to that number. Eventually, you reach it, and you don't really know like,
Yeah.
what did I do here? I mean, I know what I did, but I don't want to maintain it. I reached my goal, but I don't want to maintain it.
Yeah.
So you never really learned how to properly input to get to where you want to be.
I guess my take on that quote is the input will be the knowledge you've gained. Like in the case of this podcast, like I've dabbled in video editing previously in the past, but like never actually sat down with it. But like now that I have this personal project that I'm actually pursuing, I've actually like taken so many hours editing the videos, and whenever a problem comes up, I look into it and be like, okay, how do I solve this problem? And that would be like the input of actually solving the problem. Or like even when it comes to like lighting, or how to set up the mics, or how do I make this portable so I can do stuff like
I
this
see
where
what's
I'm
going on here.
traveling,
Yeah.
or like how do I get the camera angles to be kind of good, and what is the content that I want to like produce, and all of that all of those things that I'm thinking about. And like it just, even if I just think about them subconsciously, and I keep them in the back of my brain will subconsciously start like solving the problems, and then I'll have a eureka moment, be like, oh, this is it. This is it. This is the solution. And I think that's the input that I'm getting from that quote, whereas the output is something that just is a byproduct.
It's an adverse effect of what you put into
what
it.
what you are doing. Like, I'm doing all of these different things that don't really pertain to, I would say, an output. I guess the output would be the episode, but it's all combined
it's the
into
collective,
one,
right?
Yeah, it's all combined into this one thing, but a lot of it is the input of knowledge that I'm gaining.
See, like, exactly. So I remember this had come up in that podcast I'd mentioned, and this is very relative to kind of how I'm approaching things now, and how I made in my opinion, my best progress in my fitness journey.
Okay.
Is you kind of set realistic and like goals like of your input. Like, let's say for fitness, I know physical activity is important, so I'm going to input, let's say, a few workouts a week, and I'm going to input walking just for steps, just to get physically active, or I'm going to do jogging because I like it, and I'm going to input, let's say, I'm going to do a diet. I'm just going to like make sure it's maintained. It's mostly whole food. It's healthier. Like, let's not get inflammation. Let's just slow. Let's not really focus on the scale. What that should do collective with the physical activity, with the workouts, with, let's say also add in, like, I'll try to get better sleep. I'm basically essentially trying to just better my life with sleep, with relaxation, with physical activity, with even just learning. Like, I like to read. I'm getting into reading books again now.
I see.
What this should output afterwards, I'm not really focused on. What it might output is maybe I get stronger. Maybe I get faster. Maybe I get smarter. Maybe I just get a better life.
Right.
Rather than skipping the input part, like you mentioned, the vast knowledge that you learn and that you routinely do, like let's say practice making a podcast, video editing, setting it up, the angles. I mean, I saw you doing that probably an hour before we even started, just like mixing with the angles. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Because that's what you need to learn to actually get a product that you might potentially enjoy exactly.
Want to put out there.
But if you skip that process and you're too focused on the end goal, you might not learn at all. And you might just get some type of subpar result that maybe you wouldn't have gotten as fast if you focus on the input, but it's definitely much better overall.
Oh yeah, for sure. I really like that quote. I haven't heard that one before, but
I just heard it like last week. It was awesome. I heard it on a drive. It's like, oh dude.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah.
But this kind of just came up out of nowhere. This is
yeah,
really
I literally went up to him last night and was like, "Hey, you want to be a guest on my podcast?" He was like, "Sure, it'll be fun." I didn't tell him anything else.
Nothing else.
Honestly, I love that he was so ready, but also I probably could have been a little more, hey, like a week before, but like, hey, if you're coming up, we can like plan this thing, but it's okay. He did great.
Literal jump scare. I mean, it helps a lot that I've been listening to an excessive amount of podcasts.
Okay.
I mean, it was at least an 8-hour drive just straight here, but I took about 10, maybe 11 hours just because I was stopping so much.
Right.
And I mentioned I was just seeing trails, and I was like, you know what?
Going through the trails.
I have free will right now. There's no one with me. I'm going to go down, like, just spend a couple of minutes just going down trails for fun.
Those are like the best like moments. Me and my friend went to Colorado last June or July, and we rented out a car, and we had to drive about 2 hours to meet up with our friend. We went on a trip for rock climbing. Oh, big shock!
Whoa, no way! It's like me going to Smash tournaments. Like,
yeah,
come
exactly. But like halfway through the drive, we saw a little trail. We're like, hey, let's take a little stop. We brought a frisbee because my friend likes to like carry a frisbee around just in case we want to use it. And then like partially through the trail, I decided to go off trail and actually explore like into the wilderness. And we kind of got lost, but we found the river and was like, okay, we can go this way. But yeah, it's just like those moments where especially like if you're doing it with someone else, it's just it feels so
it,
freeing.
it has to be like someone else that kind of is related to that, like they have the same mindset.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
having that, because the reason why I never did it with anybody else, and the reason why I took advantage of it this time as my first time driving truly by myself long distance, was because the people that I would be with most times, or even the person that I was in the past,
Mm-hmm.
was not the type of person to really look at those moments and be like,
Yeah.
I could take advantage of this. So like, let's say what I just did right now, like stopping along trails,
Right.
essentially, I always use the term wasting time, but I kind of relate it to how good the time was, quote unquote, spent or quote unquote
Oh, I like
wasted.
that, yeah.
Like it was a good waste of time, a good spending of time.
Right.
That's what I like to say. Like I always say wasting of time, not as a derogatory term,
Okay.
but as in the end of the day, all time is kind of wasted time. It's just, was it good or was it bad? In the past, I definitely was not the person to really look at this and be like, oh, it's a waste of time. I don't want to do it. If my dad had said, let's go stop at the trail like 2-3 years ago, I would have been complaining without a doubt. And that
You know
definitely,
what? I can see that.
yeah,
I
for
can see
sure,
that.
right? I mean, that definitely comes with like a bit of maturity as well. But then the
Oh.
people that I mostly go on long distance travels with, like I go to a lot of gaming tournaments. They're
That you say no more gaming tournaments.
exactly they are not gonna want to really do anything. Like if we're not on the road and we're not getting to point A to point B as fast as
Yeah.
humanly possible, they're mad or they're complaining the entire time. And I started to realize this more and more as I started to mature, and I'm like, this is boring.
Holy cow! I've just realized as we're talking here, like, especially with the 2-3 years ago quote where you would be complaining, I can totally see that past version of you, and like now looking at you, I almost like I still know you're my cousin, and I still know your family, but like it's almost like it's a different person, you know, but in a good way, you know, and I'm proud of that, honestly. Yeah, you've come really, really far.
It's taken me. I've only sort of again, all these like realizations kind of come up like in spurs.
Yeah.
Like you don't really realize something happened until it's already happened for months, and you're like, wait,
Yeah, it's kind of like
oh,
when I mentioned something like it's in the back burners, and then all of a sudden
suddenly
it's
it
like,
switches.
oh,
Yeah.
it all clicks now.
And this happens like constantly throughout the past 2.5 years. Like I have months where I just feel like I'm the same person, and then out of nowhere, from one day to the next, oh, I'm somebody new now.
Yeah,
And I
for
kind of
sure.
feel like this is what's happening like right now or recently. It's like I'm realizing, as you mentioned, it's like I really am not the same person I was before.
No, you're not.
I was
Jesus.
100% the person complaining in the back of the car wanting to get point A to point B as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah, as you're sitting there with your Nintendo in the back seat.
Yeah, or like I'm on my headphones the whole time
Yeah.
watching like some type of show, and I'm wondering why I'm feeling car sick.
Jeez.
So that's what I like to do now. Just kind of find better, quote unquote, ways to waste
A
time.
way to spend your time.
Well, I guess you could say, if you want to just be more like nice about it, ways to spend the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why, I've always just said waste of time.
Interesting.
But it's not, I don't mean it, it's the thing, it's like, I
I
don't
know.
mean it as derogatory.
It's like you don't think of it as like a derogatory
Yeah.
term, but like when I hear it, I would, and I would just replace the term waste with
Spend.
Spend.
Yeah.
Spend, like, yeah, and that just. But I guess it's just the way you perceive the word now versus how others would, which is very interesting to think about. Because me and my friend had a it's just two simple words, and we both of us knew exactly what it meant. The words were world domination.
World of domination?
World domination.
World domination.
Yeah.
Okay, I see
And so we knew exactly what it meant, but if I told anyone else, "Oh, I'm gonna do world domination," they'd be like, "Huh?" Like really, all it meant was us like pursuing the best of ourselves and achieving like what we wanted.
Ah, I see.
It wasn't actual world domination, but once we like, if it was just me and him and we were talking about world domination, then we'd know exactly what we're talking about. But like anyone else outside of that realm wouldn't understand a single thing we're saying.
See, that's funny that you mentioned when you just said that. What you described, world domination, is I would just like I would instead word that as conquering the world.
I see. Yeah.
See, like it's just at that exact moment you had one definition for another term, and I had that same definition, but on a different term. And it's because this has actually gotten me. I wouldn't say trouble, but I've had to explain it several times.
What, conquering the world?
No. Wasting time. Because I've actually said this statement before to like my mom.
Oh, really?
And we've had like, let's say I take her out to like, we used to do like dinner dates.
Oh, okay.
I take her to dinner date, bowling. I would spend time with the family.
Yeah.
And, whatever would mention, she'd be like, "Oh, it's nice spending time with the family with this," and I would say, "Yeah, it's a good waste of time."
Yeah.
And then immediately I would just naturally, because I know that word probably isn't the best to use for most people, and I would look at their my mom's face or my family's face, and there's just that little bit of
Yeah, like
waste. What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
What are we implying here? Do you not want to be with me? Is it a waste of your time to be with me? I'm like, no. It's not a waste of my time. It's just a waste of general time.
Yeah.
But it was, you're forgetting they almost forget about the previous word, good waste of time.
Waste of time. Yeah.
It's like you can almost take away that exact term and just say a good spending of time.
Yeah.
But it means the exact same thing to me.
Exactly. I completely get that. Me and my family friend up here in Dallas, former boss, she would.
That's nice.
So we had vision boards, and I had so she wanted me to like put all these like extra stuff, and all I had on it was world domination, and she hated that. She always told me to like tear it down. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And like exactly like I've had conversations with her about it, about what it meant to me, but she didn't really like understand it. And I guess it's kind of similar to that, where they view it as something completely different just based off of the words themselves and how they're perceived, or how they perceive them, versus how it's perceived by the person saying the words, which is very, very interesting to think about now that you've mentioned it.
It's just like learned experience. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. I
I can't tell you where you pick up on these little just preferences of words. Like I can't tell you that I heard somewhere sometime that saying a good waste of time is something you should say. It just kind of happened naturally. Like I don't know why. It just did.
All right. Do you have any final remarks you would like our viewers to take away from?
Oh, you had mentioned that, or we had both mentioned that a big part of like the input goals, learning, is kind of getting information. And I feel like it's very important, especially with what I've been doing recently, is to kind of make the slight effort to find that information. A majority of the information that I got is through the internet, is through YouTube videos, is through that. However, it all stemmed from me making the conscious effort to find something on it. And then slowly the algorithm will like give me more information.
I see.
And then I kind of pieced together. So like you'd mentioned that you got a lot of stuff on editing, got a lot on like different angles in YouTube. Yeah. And I for sure guarantee you that after you made about a day or two of just looking up videos a little bit, it started feeding you more.
Oh yeah.
Collectively. And then you just click on it and you'd be like, oh, I've heard this before. And it's almost like this reintroduction, and that's how you learn, by constantly like feeding information. Everything that I know, everything that I would like to give out is already there. It's just you need to make the slight effort to find it. And then slowly it'll more so come to you. So like for me, let's say for example, a big part of my maturization for my feel like, especially my mentality, was I was actually following this creator. I don't know if you know him, probably do. Noel Diesel.
Oh yeah,
fitness influencer.
I've sent you a couple.
Exactly.
Of but anyways,
however, I got introduced to him. It kind of, when I think about it, like led me down this almost path. Because if you think about Noel Diesel, he's a fitness content creator. He does regular things, but a big part of his style is mentality. He's like a big father figure. He's like all about bettering yourself.
Want to hear a fun fact about him?
He's gay?
He's in Dallas.
He's in Dallas?
Yeah.
Wait, he's a Texan?
He
I didn't
lives-
even know
he
this.
lives here in Dallas.
Lived or lives?
Lives, as far as I remember.
Holy shit. A big thing about him is mentality. And I remember he had made like a video, just like a 10, 11, I don't know what it was called. It was 10, 11 minute video. He's made several of them. Just talking about either fatherly things, about his lifestyle, how his mentality changed. I remember watching that video and then intentionally clicking on it. And then a few hours later, I saw my YouTube feed another video about mentality, and then another video, and then another, and I just collectively just kept on clicking on them, and I started gaining more and more information.
Right.
And then after time, this led to learning about more lifestyle benefits, more competitive benefits. Like I'll just like start branching off things that it kind of led me down the whole fitness podcasts. I started learning about more information about muscle building, about strength training,
Right.
about learning how to better build your metabolism, better make a good diet for you.
Right.
Well, okay, let's make a better diet. Let's make a better calorie efficient diet. Low calorie breads. Let's do low calorie breads. Wait a minute. Hold on now. This video is telling me that it might cause inflammation. The
Right.
fiber isn't good enough, but I thought fiber was good. So let me look up now. Fiber. What about fiber?
Right.
And then you find more videos. You watch those, and then you get the collective. Like it starts branching into these themes,
Yeah.
and then suddenly all the pieces are falling to the place because you made the conscious effort one time to look up a video, and then you continued that path.
So, do you know the best way to learn a language?
My first thought's Duolingo. I'm sorry.
It's not Duolingo. The best way to learn a language is immersion.
Immersion.
You put yourself in that language as much as possible. So like when I'm learning Spanish, I use an app called Pimsleur. By the way, great app. I'm not sponsored yet, maybe. But
Hopefully, one day.
Pimsleur, and it's 30 minutes a day. They put you in different scenarios. It can be like you're at a cafe with a friend. This is how you order.
I've
or
heard of this
stuff.
before.
Also, what I've done is I've watched a couple of like shows. I find that cartoons are the best way for beginners to like learn a new language because they make it very simplified. They'd be like, casa means house, or like, and they use very simple words for children, which helps me so much. But recently, I've started journaling in Spanish.
Okay.
And so that's been kind of tough because I'm now being introduced to like words that I don't usually use, but a lot of the words are very similar in my journaling. But then also like when you're out and about in the world speaking to people in Spanish, it's like it's all about immersion. That's kind of like that's what you just said. That's kind of like how I envision it. It's just immersing yourself into what you want. Like
Yeah.
If it's language, then it'd be, okay, how many inputs can I get for this language in order for my output to become better?
It's the realization that if you really want it, you need to put yourself in that situation over and over and over
Exactly.
again.
I realize we just keep going back and forth on things. But okay, guys, thank you so much. This has been episode 10 with Donovan, and I will see you guys again next time.